I wonder why regular food is so cheap or regular and why organic food is so much more expensive. Well, I'm going to cover government subsidies today when it comes to our food, so stay tuned and don't go anywhere. Hey, this is Lance McGowan, the Tropical Smoothie Guy, and government subsidies are one of the main reasons why your food is so cheap when you think about non-organic food. So I'm going to cover that in the next section in a little more detail.
Hey, this is Lance McGowan, the Tropical Smoothie Guy, and I wanted to talk about some government subsidies because a lot of times people are like, oh, organic food is too expensive. And, when we look at the reason why normal food isn't the same price or more than organic food, here's the main reason why. All right, so the reason is because subsidies for agricultural insurance costs U.S. taxpayers. That's right, we still end up paying one way or another. It's just kind of a little bit through our taxes instead of directly for that item or produce. So, about $20 billion annually, according to the U.S. Government Accountability Office. And so, this is from a Wall Street Journal here article. And so, that includes corn, that's soy, that's cotton. Cotton's really important because we do, have a lot of clothes and things like that. All right, so that financial support has come under great questioning, with opponents complaining that most of the money goes to a small percent of millionaire farmers and giant agribusinesses, not small family farms seeking to stay in business or barely stay afloat. So that's really, how's that $20 billion being allocated? So here's the important question. Should those who produce the bulk of our food receive the bulk of farm payments to ensure world food security and low costs? And so we want low cost food, right? We don't want to pay more than we want to, but at what cost is that for our health? And are we really helping the overall economy if taxpayers are still paying for those things anyway? So it's like, okay, do you want to pay more per item or do you want to pay more, in your taxes? And so, well, we don't really have a choice. It's going, in the form of our taxes. And yeah, 20 billion is, a drop in the bucket when you include all that, people pay and the government pays for taxes and all that stuff. But the point is there's a lot of money going to keeping processed foods or these food crops like corn and soy and all these things very cheap, which then makes animal products like beef and chicken and eggs and dairy cheaper because these things are inputs for those things. That's what cows eat, that's what chickens eat. They eat grain, they eat corn. And so when we look at that, and then we look at processed foods, all these packaged and boxed foods, like those are really cheap because all these subsidies. So let's hypothetically remove all these government subsidies. Maybe, just maybe, the price of food for regular food would maybe be on par, maybe even more expensive than organic food, right? And so that is something to consider. And when you look at price now, hopefully you're looking at it from a, hey, how much of these government subsidies is impacting the price of my food? And that is, I think, the really big question. All right, so the next steps are to subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch the next video so you can learn more about not only GMOs, government subsidies, but how maltodextrin plays a role in all this as well, since most maltodextrin is derived from corn.
About $20 billion annually is what allows your regular food to be so regular and why organic food, on top of the certifications that you have to pay to, put that label on that product to make it USDA organic. I mean, it's such a weird dynamic that we have to pay to call things the way they used to be before there were toxic chemicals. It's almost like it should be the other way around. Like if there's toxic chemicals, you should put a label on that. And if the food is the way that it used to be before toxic chemicals, you should not have to put a label on that. Anyways, we have a very backward system that's very profit driven and not health driven. So it is what it is. That's the reality that we live in the US and Canada. So it is what it is. We need labels to help us make more educated decisions about our food so that we know what's in it, or at least we know the standards that are being held so that our food is higher quality. Well, that concludes today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click the subscribe button so you can watch more videos, or click one of the links in the description box below so you can keep the education train on track.